Hi everyone, it's Thursday here in Greystanes and we're going to make a really quick card, and I hope you really like this one. If you like simple watercolory, I'm going to show you the card here and now we're going to make it. And we'll talk about the elements, okay? So the first thing we have is some of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Now this comes 5 by 7 inches. I'm pretty sure it is 5 by 7 inches. So what I've done is I've cut one of the pieces. Crikey, let me get it out of there. I've cut it down the middle at 3.5. Okay, now other than that, I have cut them even further. So I'll show you what I did. I have a standard card base here. I'll quickly fold that for you and we'll burnish that with the bone folder. So that is your normal card base. So if you are in Australia or a country that uses metric, it is half an A4 scored at 10.5, and that is our card base. In the US, you know what your card base is. It's a half your US letter size, and then it is scored again in half, and that is your card base. Okay, we'll pop that over there. I have a piece, in this case, of Daffodil Delight. You can use any colour you like. This is matte 1. Now, in the templates, you can request at tilly2145@gmail.com, and I will send you a PDF of a sheet of these measurements. And it is the A4 metric, and it is the US letter size. And when I refer to matte 1, you can check what it is in metric, and you can check what it is in US letter size. Very, very handy little conversion rate to have. But I'm using the Daffodil Delight. As I said, you can use any colour you like. So that is matte 1. Matte 1 in Australia is 10 centimetres by 14.3. I have a scrap of the Daffodil Delight that was left over. I have one of my little greetings from my little busy box here that I did the other week. This light is not very bright. Hang on, let me see if I can change that. I did a whole pile of little scraps that were already in strips, and I'm using them up. So that's very, very handy. I have a piece of basic black, and this is matte 3, and matte 3 in Australia is 9 centimetres by 13.35. And then I have cut our little piece of the Fluid 100 watercolour down to matte 4, and that is 8.5 by 12.85. Okay, so we're going to have a very, very small black border. It may not be that small, but yeah, I'll show you here. Once I sat down and tried to work it out, I ended up doing it via the mats, so it would make it easier for everybody else. But that's our little mats. So we're going to pop all of this aside. We're going to do some colouring. We're going to work on the watercolour piece first, because I want to allow it to dry. The stamp set we're using is the Sketched Butterflies. We're using this little butterfly here and the coordinating die. Now, I've already stamped it, as you can see. I'm in a bit of a hurry. I went out for lunch today, and I'm not going to lie. When we go out for lunch, my girlfriends and I, we're out all day. So, yeah. Not going to lie, not going to apologise. But, yeah, just explaining. Okay, so that's the stamp set. Beautiful. I love these Sketched Butterflies. I loved it the minute I saw it. So I'm going to pop that over there, and we're going to do some smooshing. Now, if you remember, smooshing is using this little, it's a little wad of paper towel. It's wrapped in a bit of plastic lunch bag, Ziploc bag. Because they're a little bit stretchier and a little bit sturdier than Glad Wrap, you can reuse them many times. I've got a piece of laminating or acetate here. I'm going to use that as my palette, and I'm going to just pop some Pool Party down. Now this is a very, very pale colour, so I'm going to pop a fair bit down. I'm just stamping it straight from the ink pad. Now, I more than likely will need more, okay? But I'm going to just spritz that just with a little bit of water, and I'm going to mix it up with my smoosher. Now, you can see it on there, but sometimes that's a bit too much, so I like to go a little bit further down and take some of that off, so I've got smaller amounts. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I'm basically going to just smoosh this all over. I'm going to keep picking it up, and if I press harder, it spreads the ink out. If I press lightly, you get these little... So if I press hard, you get a big smoosh. If I press lightly, you get these little, I don't know what you call them, little droplets. So yeah, decide what you want, and we're just going to do that all over. And then I'm going to just quickly dry that on setting 1. It won't take very much to dry it. The watercolour paper is really, really good for this technique. And that's pretty much dry. Now, it does dry back a little bit lighter. I'm just going to hold that up. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So now I'm going to do another layer. And you'll see that the depth that it creates when you go over this, you can see that there's colour on top of colour. And it just creates that really lovely depth to it. So I'm going to dry that as well. Just on heat setting 1. And I think I'm done. I think I like that. I don't think I want any more than that. Now there is still some ink left on this little piece of plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take an old brush, and I'm just going to wet my brush and pick up whatever's left, and I'm just going to splatter that on there. And I will hold that up. It just gives it another layer. And because they're very fine spatters, yeah, they only take a second to dry. So there we go. Now look, I've got a bit of a mess here, so just going to clean that up. I'll wash my brush in a minute. Give my smoosher a bit of a wipe, and I'll hold that up for you now. So you can see a couple of different layers, and then that last bit of splattering. Now we're going to do another technique. We're going to actually stamp the leaves from, oh gosh, where did I put that now? Oh, here it is. Textured floral. I love these leaves. They look quite watercolory to me. So I'm going to use them as a stamp. Okay, I'm going to stamp this in the old olive, and I'm going to stamp it off before I even bring it to that piece of watercolour paper. So I'm just going to stamp that off, okay? Then I'm going to spritz the stamp just from a fairly high up, and I'm going to lay that down and do a second one. So it gives you this very watercolory finish. So I'll do that again. I'll just give that a wipe. I will ink it up again. I'll stamp it off, spritz it, and stamp another one over here somewhere. And I'll do a second one over there. Now, I might actually have enough left on there. If I spritz that really lightly, there may be enough left on there. So I'll just have a look and see. very, very pale. But that's okay because that contributes to the background. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to do that again. And building up this scene. So spritzing that just lightly and putting them at different heights, different angles, and I'm gradually building up this scene. So I might just do a couple more down here and then I'm going to call that done, okay? So I spritz it and just going to fill in these spaces down here, and you can see it can be quite watercolory. And I think another little bit there, and I think we'll call that done. Just to fill in that space. There we go. That's done. Okay, very, very quick. And now I've got this garden scene. So I'm going to pop that aside to dry, and I'm going to colour in my butterfly. Now I've got I've got the Stampin' Write markers, not the blends today. I've got one blend. I've got the dark, what's it called? Dark grey granite. And that is going to be for our little butterfly's body. So I'll do that first because I often forget that. There we go. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to colour it in with the light yellow, just roughly. Okay, I'm just going to, using the side of the marker, I'm just pouncing that all over. That's it. I'll hold it up. I'll show you what I've done. And that's it. Now I hope you can see that. I've just put colour down. I'm going to take this darker Daffodil Delight kind of a yellow and turning the butterfly around so that all my daubing is not in the same direction. I'm going to do some more in the darker yellow. It's almost an orange, this yellow. There we go. Look at him. Isn't he beautiful? Now, I have some, I think this is Parakeet Party. And I'm going to do the same again. I'm just going to put some little bits of green throughout his wings. And I'm just literally pouncing that up and down. I'm not colouring it in any way. So there we go. And then the last one is this gorgeous Summer Splash. So this is like a darker colour. So I can, you know, pick and choose where I want to put this darker colour. Butterflies are generally symmetrical, so yeah, maybe you might want to take a bit of notice of where you're putting it on one wing and go on the other wing as well. That looks great. And I know you're going, what? That doesn't look great, but it will in about 5 minutes. I'm going to actually cut this out now with the die, if I can pick it up. Crikey. Dear, oh dear, these things are set to try me, honestly. So I've stamped it just on a scrap of basic white, okay? So I'm going to pop that down there. I've got a piece of washi. I'm going to line that up like that. Just bear with me. Now you can actually see his little antenna through those two little holes there. So if you line everything up and you can see the antenna, you're doing okay, okay? So that's going on there like that. I'm using my little mini, what's this called? Cut and emboss machine. That's it. Stampin', cut and emboss machine. Crikey. Okay. So I'm just cutting that out. Let me just pop those out of the way. And this folds up, and it doesn't have much of a footprint really for a cutting machine. So that's really handy. That lives up there, just up there on my little desktop. There's my little butterfly. Now I can keep those little scraps if I want to for other things. And I'll just pop that. Where will I pop that? I'll pop that up there so I don't lose it. No, I'm going to lose it. I'll just leave it there. It's right there, okay? I'm going to get this crop out of the way. Right, okay, hang on. Hold your horses. Now, we're going to start to put this together, okay? I'm going to take this mat out of the way. And I have all of my bits and pieces here. So this is the basis for our card. Now that is going to go straight onto the black mat, but I thought I might use some of this gorgeous little daffodil ribbon. It's very, very narrow, so I'm going to cut off a piece about that much, and I'm going to pop that around the back. Okay, so about a third up, I guess. So a third is about that far up, and yeah, let's move that out of the way. And I'll just pop enough of the seal, let me get it going, so that I eventually get it in the right spot, okay? And I'm going to wrap that around. Now, it's not so much the actual card as combining these two techniques to give that watery watercolour finish, and how quickly you can achieve that. I mean, seriously, I don't know how long I've been going, but let me have a look. Yeah, 17 minutes. 17 minutes, nearly finished. So that's going straight onto our black piece. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of liquid glue on this, a bit on the ribbons, just to hold the ribbons in place. And you'll see the kind of border that we're going to get with those measurements. Just going to press that down for a second. That is going onto our Daffodil Delight piece. You can use seal, tear and tape, whatever adhesive that is your favourite. We all have our own little favourite bits and pieces, so yep, no problem there. So you can see the border on the yellow now. It's become more prominent. And I'm gluing that straight on the card. Now look, I'm not going to pop a sentiment in there, but you know, at this point you can pop any sentiment you'd like in there. I'm trying to make this a quick one tonight. So make sure your card opens the right way. Crikey, I don't know how many times I've done that. There we go. We've got this beautiful sunny yellow. Yellow always makes me smile. I don't know about you guys, but it always makes me smile. So there's our card, almost done. Almost done. So now I'll tell you one thing I discovered, and they were these little glue dot micro dots. Now I thought these were really, really good. Stampin' Up! Don't sell them, but they're 1/8 of an inch. Our normal ones, I think, are 1/4 of an inch or something like that. These little glue dots are so small. I'll see if I can show you one. Right there. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm actually going to tear this off and They're calling them micro dots. So I'm going to tear this off here. My little glue dot is just there on the tip. I'm going to pop that underneath this ribbon so that I can secure the ribbon. Now, this ribbon is very, very narrow, and you can't even see that glue dot under there. The ribbon is actually 1/8 of an inch. So, yeah, true to size. Okay, so now I'm going to make a little bow, and this ribbon is double-sided, so it really turns out really nicely. And we only want a little bow. And I do rabbit ears. You do your bows the way you would normally do them. Sometimes I think it's hard enough to make a bow without trying to do it a different way than you normally do it. But anyway, there we go. Nice little bow. I'm just going to trim that off, just about there. And I will trim this. Hang on, we've got a little bit of twisting to do here. A little bit. I'm going to trim this one off as well. And that's going to go on there. Now, I'm going to use 2 of these little glue dots, because I figure if one's good, 2's better, right? I don't know. But I'm going to pop these on here, but I'm not putting it on yet because I want to put a little, my little message on there. So I'm going to leave that on the protective paper. There's my little bow there. And I was toying with the idea of using this piece of yellow underneath it, but I don't know now. This one I just trimmed it right down to a very narrow piece. And I just felt that looked really nice. What do you think? I think I will. I think I'll stick with that. And I think I'll just fussy cut this out. Only because, yeah, it's all different sizes. So just bear with me. I hope you can see this. Look, if fussy cutting is not your idea of a spectator sport, then just skip along to the next step. But it is very easy. And you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't tell everyone that little secret of mine. It just does not have to be perfect. As long as you've got that in a nice uniform shape, yeah, it'll be fine. This is the tricky bit, is holding it while you're trimming it. Right, there we go. And I think that's as crooked as Billy-O, so just hang on a second while I just trim this off. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Now my little trick is to take my bone folder and just turn that upside down, smooth it out from the back, and any of those rough edges will lay down flat now. So I'm going to tuck that under there, just like that. Now that's where I put the glue dot, is just under there. So I'm going to actually glue, excuse me, I'm just going to glue the very tip of this. Just putting a little bit of glue on that. I'm going to pop it under there, just like that. Now that will secure that. I'm going to take my bow and, hang on, and I'm going to pop that on there like that. So we've got this beautiful bow. How gorgeous is that? Now, you could stop here. I'm going to bend his little wings up so that he's now like a U shape. and I can pop a bit of glue on there, okay? And I'm going to pop him up there like that, like he just happens to be fluttering past. So a bit of glue. And here comes the optional part, okay? Now, you may or may not have some of this. So I'm just going to pop him there just for a second while I talk about this stuff here. That is not it. This is it. That was glue. This is the Shimmery Crystal Effects. Now, Stampin' Up! Don't sell this anymore, but I am under the impression that other companies do sell something similar. It is like a crystal glaze. I'll show you what it does for this little butterfly, because it does take a little bit of time to dry. So you can see his gorgeous wings. And I've also done some little, I don't know what you call those, little dewdrops, I guess. So what I thought I might do is just pop a bit of extra Wink of Stella on his wings. And then I'm going to cover it in this crystal glaze. And when you first see it, it looks a bit opaque, like a bit milky. But it dries really clear, and it gives this beautiful domed surface. So I'm going to show you how to do that now, okay? So this is a little bit old, this one, and it might come out a little bit thick, but don't worry. Yeah, it does dry. It takes a bit of drying. So I'm just squeezing that out, and I'm just sort of spreading it all over his wings as I'm squeezing it. Okay, now it finds its own level, if you know what I mean, and I'll show you when I do the dots. It does find its own level. So let's move that around. Yeah, and you've got a bit of time to move that as well. And it gives this really gorgeous, glossy, oh gosh, I should have sat it upside down, shouldn't I? I should have. Right, here we go. So I'm just squeezing it and spreading it at the same time. There we go. I'll do his little body. Hang on, that does not look like it's done properly there. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, that's better. I'll do his little body, and then I'll do this wing. Now, as I said, I've had this for a while. I didn't really use it for very often. You more than likely would have some of this type of stuff in your stash. Yeah, once upon a time they were kind of all the rage. Now this is what I do. I just sort of like drop it down really hard, and it kind of levels it off. Now you can see where you've missed a bit. You can just pop a little bit on there, and I call it whacking it. So we'll just whack it. And then I do little crystal drops. So you squeeze it out, and then you kind of slowly lift it up. Oh, and if it starts to do that, just pick it up and drop it down again. I think I need to shake this down further. There we go. And you can do tiny little drops. You can do bigger ones. And once you've got it, it will find its own level. Okay, so I'm just going to put a couple down here now. I'll put a bigger one down here. Kind of a medium-sized one there. And maybe a little one here. Now, I will hold that up, of course I will, just to show you. Okay, so now I've put 6 of these on here. It's called Shimmery Crystal Effects. Now this has got a little bit of glitter in it, but yeah, I didn't think it had enough. So I'm going to hold that up for you. You can have a look at that. You can search that, Crystal Glaze. Yeah, it looks a bit milky at the moment, but when it dries, they dry clear. So I'll show you in comparison. This one here with the beautiful glaze on it. You can see the little crystal drops there. These ones are still looking rather opaque. But when that dries, that butterfly is going to be absolutely gorgeous. And his wings will stand up. It'll go flat to go through the male. And they'll have this gorgeous glossy butterfly with sparkles in it. Look, let me know what you think about that. Yeah, that will take a fair while to dry. So, yeah, plan on doing that when you can leave it sit somewhere. I would not, excuse me, I wouldn't use the heat gun on that. I don't know what would happen. But I've used a bit of scrap, another bit of scrap for the butterfly. The butterfly turns out beautiful. It kind of looks like it's opalescent. It kind of looks like an opal. If you've ever seen an Australian opal, you get these flashes of colour. Predominantly the yellow to pick up the Daffodil Delight, and the ribbon is also in Daffodil Delight. Thank you so much for sharing in your Thursday night with me. I'm off now, and I'll see you guys all on Sunday night. So up until that point, do take care of yourself. Be kind. Always be kind. And yeah, I'll see you then. Hooray. Bye for now. Bye.